Hello viewers, welcome to Core for Any. If you hear new, hit subscribe buttons and notification bell so you can never miss any our incredible content. Flutter tax app inside today we need to create here the supports user list chats and then after we need to calling this here the support messengers you have need to develop with the real time socket IO. First of all, we need to declare here the socket connects API. We need to declare here, need to define here. First of all, we need to set this here. Need to give this here the names as a static const sv and to give this here the support list is equal to need to write down here dollars page URL and to give this here the our API URL path like this. Need to copy here free API need to calls here and then after need to connect for the gets here the previous records messages need to get this API for the connect API and then after need to get this here the send message like this. We need to calling this here the API. First of all need to set this here the support list API that here, then after need to support connect API need to put this here and afterwards need to get this here the support message and one more API we need to calling here for the clearing here the chats need to calling this here the SV support clean and to write down here the dollars page URL need to paste this here the support clear like this API. We need to call this here the clear API like this. For API are the needed here's and now need to run this here's. Now we need to go inside the support list screens. We need to go and to write down here one to do and to give this here API calling and now need to give this here the void functions. We need to give this here the get list API. We need to write down here. We need to calling here one by one API and data. We need this here. First of all, we need to write down here service call dots. We need to get post methods. We need to calling here and now need to set here one parameters socket ID get ID is equal to need to call this here the socket manager class dot share dot sockets question marks. Need to write down here the ID and to set here double quotes. Now need to set here the path. We need to give this here the sv key and to give this here support list and now we need to give this here the each token API. Need to set this here the true then after need to calling this here the with success response and to get this here the response objects. We need to get this here from the server and we need to write here the since methods. We need to calling this here like this. We need to set here now we need to call this here the fail methods and to get here any errors. We need to get error like parsing errors other errors like socket not connected like these errors. We need to get this here set this here. Now we need to calling since right here semicolons and one more things we need to calling this here the top dots show HUD and get this top dots hide HUD and here hide HUD. Like this, we need to calling years and to call this years. And we to also need to since methods need to call because this is the future block. That's why I need to needs here since synchronize. We need to call this years. And now we need to check this here the API response object equal to need to check this here key status equal to 1, then means success. Otherwise, you need to get this here the false value. Else parts clear. Also need to declare this here the variables of the list array. Like this, we need to creating years and need to assign this here the value for this list array is equal to response object. Call this here maybe typo here response this here object, and we need to call this here payload, and we need to get this here list mark set this years, and to set this here the set states if mounted and to call methods this here. Like this, we need to calling years and else parts. Print here the show alert md show alerts. Need to this here globe app names, and in this here the response object message to string equal to l message sg l. Need to call this here, and the image now need to copy and to paste this here the message. Already this is the string, else need to like this displaying here. Now we need to give this here the this list use separators inside. We need to give this here the list array count length set like this. Afterwards we need to get this here the data of this users objects we need to get here list array and index of value, and we need to check this here this map optionals. Like this, we need to get here the value, and now need to configure this value, and we need to pass this here final map view object. We need to give this for user objects and to set here the required parameters. Required this dots object like this, pass this here and to calling this here. Now not replace with this image, we need to now set here the statically. After tomorrow we need to replace with this catch network image. We need to call this here the widgets, but now need to set here statics. Now need to give this here the usernames. We need to put this here and to calling here need to get this here. First of all, need to get here the user data view object, pass this here name property, and we need to call this here as string optionals not get, then to displaying here the blank value. And also need this here the ago times. We need to import here one library, need this here, and we need to put this here time ago, and we need to call this here library. We need to imports, need to save this here and to configure here the common extensions inside. Need to configurations are the needed for these date conversations. First of all, need to create here the extensions for the date extensions. Need to write down here date time extensions on Like this create here's, and to create here inside the methods one string formats returns here the string. Past here the optional parameters string format is equal to get here y capital mm and dd. This is the default formats we need to return the years like this sets here. Now need to call this here the return methods. We need to calling this years and return. Need to call this here the date format and we need this here the format types here from these parameters. This calls and years. Now need to save and now need to convert inside the string dates. We need for the string extensions need to put this here date times. We need to get this here times is equal to need to this here the date format calling this string format equal that here y bottom y m capital M double D and 2 dash D capitals dash is our server formats. We need to put this here every time not write this way. That's why I need to get here the capital S 3 times and last one ends here the time zone sets that this is and also need to one more parameters what's here minutes add minute modify these times and spend some minute all this here by default need to give this here no any appends times here and then after need to write down here the where date is equal to get this here the call this the date formats and to set here the formats. Now need to push as a UTC parse UTC all these years parse need to introduce here not date times all these here date not gets years after need to return this here the date add functions functions and get here the minutes and to parameters return these functions. What's now need to get this here the string and time ago we need to get this here's the value also need to write this here add minute is equal to pass here 0 and one more things we need to import here the package get this here the time ago package time ago as we need to give this here the alias time ago all this here like this methods we need to callings and now we need to return these functions here if this dot equal to blank then we need to return this here the string as a blank no any converts needs and also need to return here the time ago need to pass this here the format formats. We need to call these methods, and to call this here the above functions, we need to call this function here and to return this data times. And then after we need to one format to another format converts. Write down here the string format other form. One format to another format we need to convert here like this string format. Pass this here. Then after we need to another new format here capital N. Here the and to call this here the try catch. If you get any errors, then to return here blank. Not gets errors. Gets first of all date equal to date time pass this here this parameter like this and get this here the dates equal and return this here the blank. Otherwise we need to returns here format add durations as a minutes so need to this years maybe no need here per minute. Then after we need to call this again 0. Now another we need to call this here the string format methods we need to see it for this date and we need to set here the new this here extension date extension methods call this here this methods create here and now need to get only the dates for the string date times we need to call this here get call this here this methods and returns format by capital pass this here years same as we need to another things we need to get n times same method times we need to get years. Now need to pass years dot pass years and to get this years. Now this extension methods are the getting done and now need to call our systems. Now need to set here the ago times we need to need this years we need to configure this support the gets here the object dots we need to here the created date times date time key need to use years score date and pass this here string nuls pass this here this value and to convert into the time ago methods need to call this years and then after slot inside we need to displaying here the object what message message this value, save this here, and we need to set here the objects. We need to pass this here. Like this, save here. Now we need to save and to go and to paste this here. First of all, we need to call this here insert states. Now we need to get here state things, and also one more things, copy these methods, and we need to open this here the chat message view, and to call this here the message methods, write down here the wait function, and call again this API and replace this data here. Like this, we need to calling this here, these methods are the calls. Save this here. Now need to open this here the support and calling this here the API, but issue not gets any data. We need to check inside the Node.js API. Need to get this here the server errors. We need to this here. It functions are the not available. Maybe issue with this here. So we need to fix this here first of all. Issue to find out here the line numbers. Check this here. 8 to line numbers. These methods not available. So maybe let's here the db object, that's why not calling this method. We need to call this another methods, and we need to check fix this issue inside the support list. To open this data here, and we need to call this here another method unshipped, call this here unshipped, and we need to pass this here the objects. This here sets, and also maybe mistake here past here, and we need to check this here the query are working good or not. Here issue need to know pass this here this value issue pass if null conditions as blank. Need to call this here the m dot message, pass this here like this, and also need to configure this here types, set here 0, and another thing copy against, and we need to create a dates, copy here, and we need here now times set here like this, and same as we need to create here the time set here time only. This here the page counts, and to check this the reference BC calls here BC like this, not get, then to set this here 0. Now need to save and to this here the query issue, and also need to change this here, and now need to restart this node server, and to fix this here crash, need to delete this here crash, need to automatically save here clear this here. Now again so need to test this here the to go back and to calling this the support, and to get this here and to get here the movements ago times need to get, because you need to admins always gets here the now dates, that's why you need to this here. If you not chats with the admin, tends to get this here like this response, need to print this here, and always need to get here the server now times need to get if you not send any message. Now we need to calling this here the socket IO connections, as well as need to send message API, need to calling inside the support message screens. Need to open this here the support message screens, messenger screens we need to open, and need to configure this here this here need to go support folders and support message like this, we need to calling this here, and first of all need to need this here the selected objects need to needs, that's why I need to call this here the map user objects need to needs here like this, needs here, getting here, and we need to pass this here. These parameters fields need to get this here, and we need to calling this here. Now we need to create here the API calling. First of all, so need to copy this here the connect sockets, and to get here the previous records, message, chats need to get and to set inside the data. Need to go here the this push message and to pass this here the user object. Need to call this here these methods, and to remove this here the const value like this, save. And now also need to copy this here the gets list, and we need to call against this here this API, and to change this API names, and here get manager also needs here, because need to pass this here the front socket ID for these users. And we dot support connect API, we need to call this here, and now need to here this array here replace with data, and also need to insert times, need to here set states get list API, we need to call this here get message list names, copy here, and we need to this here the this here, and now need to calling this here also need. Now need to write down here list array, here the length, and here now need dot length, need is like here the objects, and now need to pass this here object is equal to write down here array text of value as like this here this value, and also need to verify is sender message or not, need to switch write down here the one conditions. If message sender ID is equal to login user ID, then this message are the sender message, need to like this identify here get after the response, call this here the service calls dot user object, pass this here sender ID, not sender ID, use here the user ID login response, and then after the message inside we need to check this here the MSG object equal to sender is equal to then we need the sender call at the sender message. Now need to set this here the times, need to configure this here the this bubble, need to call this here m object dots, need to needs here the created dates, pass this here string optional here, and we need calling this here time ago, we need to set this here string, and then after so need to call this here the tabs, or needs now tabs, need to set here the message displaying here, need to call this here m object, and we need to give this here the message, and this we need to give this here the string optionals like pass this here, this we need to settings here, and now we need to calling this here another things we need to calls, need to need this here the send user message from the another users selected this users, need to sending call this here the API send message API, and we need to pass here apps string. Set here the another method parameters like these parameters. Here the functions and here the service call dots methods we need to calling this here. Now we need to pass here the parameters. Then after we need to give here the path sv dots send message API. We need to call this here is token API. Need to token API 2. Now we need to call this here the success and L balls blocks. We need to call this here, and now we need to get here the success and this add the these objects inside this array list. Calling here add returns here the add and this here the codes returns here the map objects and array and to set state we are not calling this here. And one more things we need text with text controllers message is equal text editing controllers. So need to set select and after so need to go this here options down here options and to call this right message action calling seeds and check here if txt message text dot text is empty then need to return this here no any next callings need to return this here the functions not nulls then to call this here the send message API. We have to pass this here the parameters we need this here parameter inside past here receiver ID equal pass this widgets dot user objects and string yes after so need to here the message parameters inside the message need to here then after we need to this here the socket ID we need to this here copy here these lines and paste this here in this here and now we need to get here the success response then we need to here text message set states we need to see here like these methods are the callings. One more thing you need to check this here the response may difference at the node.js on this here the codes check this here response on this years now we need to get here check connects and we need to get this here the map objects. We need to first of all the convert inside the map objects and then afterwards we need to put this here this value need to write down here map object is and we need to write down here payload. Now need to give this here the list array is equal to need to give this here as payload object value for key equal to give this here the messenger message as we need to pass this here list optional set shears. Now need to save these shears. And now most important parts need to receive here the socket events, need to listen here, need to call this here the socket managers dots, share dots, need to call this here sockets, and need to write down here the on events. Inside you need to get this here the events names, need to give this here the supports message. It create here this slide, write down here this events. Now we need to check this here. First of all, need to print this here the array, receive this data, print, write down here support message equal method, and we need to pass this here the data string, need to print this here set here. Now we need to check this here the status equal to equal quotes inside one, and to success data we need to get here. Now we need to get here message object, message array object, need to get this here equal to data dot payload. As we need to gets here the array object like this. Also need here message objects and sender id equal digits dot user id user objects, both are same. Then need to insert this records inside the message list array, set the add this data, add all this here message of zero index, need to add this here, and also need to check is mounted. Then to here at states methods need here. Now this is the socket connections. Here to get here the receiver user sent this login user the message, need to this here received message like this, and to fix here the typo save. Like this we need to calling this here the methods, and also need to forget here call these functions, send message actions, we need to call this here. Now we need to save, and we need to open this here and to remove these breakpoints, continue executions. Now need to get this here the missing parameter user id inside this api, need to copy these lines here user id parameters, save this here, and to start screen. Now need to know any data that supports. Now need to send here the one hi message for admins like this sends, but maybe not works. Okay, need to check this here. Click maybe not work, to check this. maybe not configures in so I set here the controllers for this text fields. Edit message. Now need to save and we need to set this I. Click here. Now we need to check against the get this here response. Call this here the API and to get this here the success response need to get here and returns here the objects, and these objects need to push inside the message array directly. To refresh this array we need to append here and need to displaying here this message like this events like this. And now into opens here the another simulators, and to check this here the real time work or not need to test this here. Now need calling here the other device we need to run this here. Now how can run this second device? Need to complete the starting these simulators, then need to select here the new device and to go runs start with the debugs. Need to call this here the methods, need to calling this here, and also need to needs here the this user logins not possible to this app inside the driver logins. That's why I need to call this here the another drivers and send to change this message to call inside the database. Now opens refresh this data and to get this here. Now need to change this here the id as this current logins you need to receive id is once. Need to change this the 3 for the other users. Need to check this here the structures and you need to log in these users. Need to explain it. Need to call this here the 11 users need to logins in this device. I have already logins but we need to logouts and explain against. Need to logouts not configures these buttons. Maybe supposed to the configure here the logouts buttons inside the here the menu view and to call this logouts. Suppose need to dots dots with this here set here. So need the set set here blanks and to here the load of the payload and then need to call this against navigator the login screen. Materials apps. Now need to here login, check this here. I need to write down. Now this the logouts methods are the calling done here and now need to click and to need against logins. Write down here the login number and we need to set this here the password. Need to check here the on the play screens and to here change screens or the logouts. Go inside the menu view and select this here all this here the select language screens, and after calls here the welcome screen need to call. Now need to restart here, or need to restart, need to calls against logins with OTP. Now captcha verify here, and then after enters here static and submit this here. Now again restart these apps to fix these letters, but now need to explain here this data. Now minimize this here, sears and sears. Now need to go inside the supports settings, support message, and to get this here user one I message need to receive here and text now like this here, and now need to send this here the ones and to receive here the directly automatically need to get here the callings and to sockets print this here the logs here. How can possible print this here the logs for next device need to select and need to get this here the exception does not matters, but to identify here the socket put here the breakpoints. Now again so need to send this here to and we to receive this here the sockets and also print these sockets. Here's need to here here's need to receive and array inside. First of all need to get this here the status objects inside payloads array and inside this new data availables and automatically displaying here the sockets. Now all breakpoints need to remove and to paste this here, and now need to send here the 3 and to send this here and to receive this here. Again need to set here the 4 to receive here automatically that here like this. Supports are the working this here. Now click on back, automatic refresh and to last message here the show image here last message. So here if you like this video please give the thumbs up. If you're new user so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new notifications and awesome content. If you have any question so please write down the comment sections. I'll help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.